Oh, fuck you, St. Patrick. Oh.
Oh my God.
What day is it?
November.
November. I remember March.
It was parade.
Parade. What parade?
Oh, Patty's Day got us, dude.
Again. We better check the video because last time we woke up covered in blood.
I'll get the beer.
Welcome back, everybody, to
Hello.
Below Decks. I'm Tom.
I'm Joe.
And we are bringing you a great little thing for St. Patrick's Day. As you can see, we're both decked out in our Ireland rugby, all but locked up the Six Nations today, so I am stoked about that. And we're gonna move forward with this lesson, and hopefully we remember all of it. So once again, we are brought to you by River Pirate Spirits. Check us out on the socials, riverpiratespirits.com, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All the lessons you want will be on there, and we're actually adding a few new extra things on there. Shoot us out on YouTube here. Like, share, and subscribe down there, and you'll get notifications every time we put a new one of these out. So today, Joe, we're doing Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskeys,
Okay.
nectar of the gods.
All right, yeah, I am not the expert on Irish whiskeys. Joe here is. We're going to bring you 4 different Irish whiskeys.
All different.
I will tell you, I love using them all in cocktails. Some of them I wouldn't use in cocktails just simply because they're just too beautiful. But some you work really well in cocktails. First, we have Jameson. We're bringing this to you because everybody knows Jameson. Everybody
standard.
uses it. It's great as a mixer. It actually, I can sip on it here and there. It's not that big a deal, but I also don't feel bad about mixing into a cocktail, dropping into some Coke, something like that. It's really good. Yeah. Gold Spot. Joe introduced me to this distillery. I had no idea. This is some beautiful stuff.
From the Spot family, I'm going to go into the Spot family.
Redbreast, and that right here, it's 12-year-old Irish whiskey. So light, so floral. I love it. It's actually my favorite to keep on my bar as my go-to whenever I need an Irish on there. And then we got Bushmills because
we're going to try it.
We're going to try it. We're both Catholic. And ordinarily we don't drink whiskey from the northern part of Ireland.
Don't have Protestant whiskey.
This one, the master distiller is actually Catholic, so we're not going to discriminate. And we know that there is a market out there for these, and we're going to see what all the hype is about.
I hope to get converted.
So, as far as Irish whiskeys and cocktails, that's what I do. I'm going to teach you guys a couple of things. You'll see Joe and I, we're going to be sipping on these Irish Bucks all night.
Smells good.
I like using these as a palate cleanser because they're light and floral. That little bit of ginger bite in there.
Oh, that tastes
that
awesome.
gives you something that's a great summer sipper. I'm going to teach you a little bit later exactly how to make this. It's one of the simplest cocktails you'll ever do. I'm also going to have 2 others on to teach you. Later on, there's going to be a Irish take on an old fashioned. I change out some of my syrups and the bitters on that one to play off the lighter floral notes and the Jameson.
Love old fashions.
And I'm also, my favorite drink in the world is a Sazerac, but that's made with a very powerful rye whiskey. I'm going to try it out with a much lighter Irish whiskey to see if we can pull out some of the notes from the bitters and things like that to play along with it. So watch the end of the video. We're going to teach you all about that. I'm also going to be putting cocktail lessons out later. But I love using Irish whiskeys in cocktails because they play so well with so many different ingredients.
They do. They're light and they're floral, and they bring out the flavors of other ingredients because it's not overpowering them. Like a bourbon will have a high alcohol taste to it.
Yeah, and ryes have that baking spice flavor and
spiciness.
Scotches, not every Scotch is smoky, but they tend to be.
Yeah.
But the Irish are great for summer cocktails because they work very well with herbs and citruses.
Yes.
They work so well with everything that you can play with them. They're balanced. They're clean. They're a beautiful cocktail whiskey.
Yeah, honey and floral, just like other summer drinks.
So, we're getting into Irish whiskey, Joe, and like I
Yes.
said, this is your area of expertise. What makes Irish whiskey different?
So it is made in a pot still. It has to be. They have pot and column, but the main Irish whiskeys, when they don't go off on their other expressions, they'll do it in a pot still. It is made with. Most of them have a lot of barley, malted, unmalted. That's a big thing because they don't have as much corn as we have over here in America. That being said, the first one we have is mostly corn, so there is an exception to every rule. And
Now,
JMO will be our first.
Now, pot stills, from my experience with distilleries and stills, they tend to send more flavor over, and as rather than the column coffee stills.
Yes.
And that those strip more the flavorants out, make more of a neutral spirit.
Yes,
and
those are
they're
good for
with
gin, vodkas.
Yeah, so rums and Irish whiskeys tend, and even scotches,
Yes.
tend to run through pot stills, correct? Okay.
Yes, they do. And also, it's got to be between 40 and 80%, and it's got to be made in Ireland and aged, stored, everything in Ireland to have that stamp.
So you're looking. So we're not going to ever see any bottled and bond Irish if it can only be at 80.
Nope,
Okay.
we will not.
All right.
They are just lighter by nature.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's I guess would explain why I very rarely have ever tasted a burn.
Yes.
As an Irish whiskey. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
That,
And there's new exceptions to those rules because one of the whiskeys we had tonight is 102.
Huh.
Even though it still says Irish on it, I guess that's their rules. They can break them if they want to.
Okay. Yeah. They tend to just like say, oh, this is what you have to do, but we're not gonna get you to go further. Okay. Now, from what I understand, Irish whiskey has a very interesting relationship with our American spirit bourbon. Can you explain more along what that is?
So Scottish and Irish immigrants that moved past the Appalachians into the Northwest frontier and into the Bourbon County. And Bourbon County was like almost all of Kentucky. Like Kentucky was a county of Virginia. So Bourbon County encompassed a lot of area. They brought with them their stills. So that's where they brought that style, that recipe, the mannerisms in which they make it and store it was already done in Ireland.
So it was Irish techniques with American grains that gave us our first whiskeys.
And the limestone water, which makes our bourbon top notch.
Okay, and then that eventually became bourbon. We'll get into that in a whole other episode. How that comes along. So, all right, what are we going with first? We're going to go with the Jameson?
Yep, the standard.
Right. Jameson, everybody knows Jameson. Yep. It's a great Irish whiskey. It's actually what's in our whiskey bucks, and it's what's going to be used in each of our cocktails because I like to make the whiskeys I use in my cocktails accessible to everyone. I don't want to tell you to go out there and buy something that you're not going to be able to find readily in your stores. I would be shocked if every one of you can't walk down to your corner into the liquor store and pull at least a pint of Jameson off the shelf.
Anywhere they sell milk and lottery tickets. And
you're going to find Jameson.
Teddy bears holding a rose.
All right, so everybody remember when we taught you how to taste whiskey, and that this is one of the things I told you. Check that color. I brought my whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
Go in there. The first thing I'm noticing, Joe, is this is exceedingly lighter than the bourbons. This is almost like a honey color.
It is. They don't sit in a charred barrel the way our bourbon does, and they pick up a lot less color. Mm-hmm. Now, our bourbons have to be aged for a minimum of 2 years. This whiskey has to be aged for a minimum of 3 years. Okay. So in general, it sits in the barrel longer, and it's not picking up as much color. Okay.
And now, I remember Jameson, is that the one that on the label says triple distilled?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So they run it through the still, and then it comes out, they get rid of the heads, the tails, and they take that liquor, and then they put it back into the still.
And they do it again.
They do it again, and then they do it yet again.
Okay, so it just cleans it up, makes it...
Correct.
Okay.
So this particular distillery was established in 1780 by John Jameson. Okay. And we got the color. The nose is light. Definitely. It's floral and sweet.
It's smelling like grass.
A little bit of cut grass. I get that.
It's like I'm mowing my lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
The mash bill on this is going to be 80% corn, and 20% barley. You're hard pressed to find anything without barley and malted barley in it.
Okay.
In England, Scotland, Ireland.
I'm surprised the amount of corn.
I know. I don't know where they're getting.
I guess
all that
that's where
corn over
the
there.
sweet comes through. Oh.
So we sip and hold, sip and Kentucky Chew, like we talked about in the other episode. So it's got a good thick body. It's got orchard fruits.
Yeah, like apples and pears.
Apples, pears.
That's what I'm getting there.
And I'm getting that it's not in an aged barrel. You're getting this vanilla cream that'll come from sitting in a barrel that's not been charred out.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
It pulls those tannins, and there's no charcoal filter. That's what happens when you char it. You make that little line of crust, and it makes a charcoal filter. This doesn't have that. It's just aging in the wood.
One thing I am getting on mine, at least, I mean, the finish is sweet, but I'm feeling. I also feel like a little bit of a bite, like we get with a rye, like there's a spice there.
I am getting the bite, and it's kind of a medium finish. It's not hanging around too long, and it's not gone like a dry wine. It's in the middle, and I get that spice on the back of my mouth at the very, very end.
Now, Joe and I have had this many, many times, so I know I like it without any additions to it, like water. I know what water is going to do to it.
Yeah, it's already light.
Yeah, it's already light. It's kind of going to wash it out. So I'm not going to do that today, but feel free to try it. You might like it a little bit more.
And you probably had shots of this and throwing it back. Just take a minute and see what you're shooting down.
All right.
Excellent.
There. And wash those out.
Yep.
Cleanse the palate.
Next, we're going to move on to what's growing to be one of my favorites, if we can ever find it again.
The Gold Spot?
Gold Spot.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had never heard of the Spot whiskey, the Spot family of whiskeys until you...
Yes. Well, it used to be all you could get was Green Spot. That was pretty much everywhere. That was...
It still is.
It still is.
I picked some up at Costco. Yeah.
And it's more common now, but there was a long time where you couldn't find it at all. Like, it was all the spots, they have a blue spot that's 7 years, green spot's 10 years, yellow spot's 12 years, red spot, which is really hard to find, is 15 years, and then this
is 9.
Is 9 years, and it's the only one. I'll get into that in a second, because we're going to talk about the color and all that and why it gets there. But up until they just disappeared in the 1960s, except for green spot was scarce but around. And then came the comeback of the spots. In 2012, yellow spot started coming back around. And then in 2018, red spot, which is hard to find, but it was still coming around in America in 2018. And then blue spot made its triumphant return in 2020. And then this just came out. So after 56 years of nothing, we got all the family back together again.
Now, compared to the Jameson, this is, I mean, it's still light. It's not like a brown bourbon, but it's significantly darker.
Compared to most Irish whiskeys, this is going to be darker.
It doesn't, it's hard to tell the Jameson because it's in the green bottle and same thing with the red breast. But looking at this color here, I mean, honestly, with the Jameson looked like honey, this looks like agave nectar.
Yes, it's creamy, oily. It's like sticking to the side, and the color, you're right, is like the nectar.
Yeah. Huh.
And
oh wow, that is a nose.
Yes. I smell bourbon when I smell this Irish whiskey.
Yeah, there's definitely vanilla cream.
Yes.
That is.
So this family, Mitchell and Sons, they started in 1887 getting into the whiskey bonding business. It's a wine store, and they sent their barrels to Bow Street Distillery, Jameson, and had it filled up with Poitín, which is their version of White Dog, moonshine, Irish moonshine, unaged. And it was in sherry butts and Bordeaux casks and port pipes, and they aged several different years, and then a master blender would come in and make the spots. Once they made the spot whiskey, they took some paint and put a blue spot if it was going to age for 7 years and a green spot for 10, and that's how they told it apart in the rick house, was that spot, and that became their label 7 years later when the first one rolled out.
That's really cool. Yeah,
That's how
that
they got
I
their
did not.
names.
Yeah, did not realize that. This is one of the most complex noses
Yes.
I've ever run
For
across. I mean,
Irish.
there's so much going on there. There's
Yeah.
like I'm smelling.
You got sweet wines, but this one sits in a bourbon barrel as well, so it had charred.
Yeah,
It
I
had
mean,
charred oak for,
there's
for several
a
years.
real light smokiness there, but I'm smelling like cream and toffee. That's
Mhm.
what I get. It's
Yes, it's amazing. It's all coming from barley.
Hmm.
Its mash bill is barley. That's it.
Well, from what I
malted and
understand-
unmalted.
this is aged in like several different things, isn't it?
Yeah, in Bordeaux, sherry, port, and bourbon.
That's why it's so complex. It's
Yeah.
picking up all those noses
Correct.
and that out of there. That's wow.
Yeah, it sat and aged in those barrels, and it was blended, and it was finished.
And it's sweet, but it's not like a really well aged rye that is just like
no, it's
like drinking.
that's like hot candy.
Yeah.
This is like chocolate. Like
Yeah.
the way that becomes, richer. It's a richer sweetness.
It's like drinking a Heath bar.
Yes, it's got the toffee. It pushes
Yeah.
into chocolate. You're absolutely
Mhm.
right on that. But I mean, I'm getting the soft leather, and I'm getting,
Yeah.
I'm getting the baking spice a little bit. But I don't know if it's supposed to have baking spice, but I'm picking it up.
Yeah. I'm sweet. The finish is sweet. It's almost rummy.
Yes, yeah, rummy, like maple
Yeah.
syrup, and
Uh-huh.
if you got a maple syrup rum and you pop that into some whiskey, you're gonna get a little bit of that. And then I breathe in, and I can get the, like the cherry and the syrup because of the sweetness when you breathe over your palate.
Yeah, it doesn't hang around either.
No.
I mean, it's not short. I mean, you can feel it, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not like it's something that's like, it's on your mouth forever.
No, a little shorter than Jameson.
Yeah.
Which is odd because it's over 102 proof, and it's not burning all the way down to my belly. It's not hurting my chest.
It's super smooth.
It is. This is definitely a keeper. If you get this, this is not one you're going to be sharing with the neighbors. It's for special occasions.
Good. Well, let's wash those out and move on to that red breast. That while Joe's getting this all ready to go again, then I might go set up a little bit on those cocktails and show you how to make something, and we'll get going with that. But
You will love them.
we're good. We're going to take you into another segment that we have here. You've been seeing Joe and I sip on these whiskey bucks the whole time during the show. So I'm going to show you how to make those along with a couple other things. Whiskey buck is the easiest drink in the world to make. I love using Irish whiskey with it because Irish whiskey tends to play really well with the citrus flavors that go in there, and it's super simple. And that best way to do this, I like to get things mixed up together. You're going to take a lime. You're going to have about quarter to half an ounce of lime in each drink. Now I'm making both for me and Joe right now. So get the juice of about half a lime in each side. Right there. Now, if you don't have one of these little citrus juicers are a godsend when it comes to working in the bar. All right, now I'm going with Jameson as my Irish whiskey because it's nice and light. It's neutral. It's not going to overpower any of the other ingredients in there. And like I said, Irish whiskey tends to play really well with these flavors. About 2 ounces in each glass. Now you're going to use a Collins glass because this is what's called a tall drink. And that's what these glasses are right here. Fill them with ice. Put the citrus in there, and pour the whiskey over the top. Right there to sit. Ginger beer. You can use ginger ale. Either way, you can use hard ginger if you want. This isn't hard ginger because really don't need to add anything to it as far as the alcohol because we got the whiskey there. Pop that open, pop it out. Love this Bundaberg ginger. It's got a nice ginger bite to it. It's a company out of Australia. You can pick it up all over the place. Top that off with each side. You can use a straw. You can use just about anything. I didn't, I'll be just a second. I didn't grab my bar spoon. And we'll get that in there. You know what? There's only a little bit left in each one of these. I'm just going to top these right out. And that all set there. And that way I can put this away. Let me get that bar spoon real fast. All right. Just give it a quick turn. Just enough to combine. Both sides, just enough to combine that whiskey and that ginger together. Get it in there. Garnish yourself with a little lime wheel. Another little lime wheel. And there you have it. It's called the Whiskey Buck. Irish Whiskey Buck. Great for the summer, great for St. Patrick's Day. A great sipper. Cheers, guys.
It's a chain reaction, got it by my feet. It's the rubber rubbing up against the concrete. Wind big as a bow, harder as I start to breathe. Everything on keys and grease.